Hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Masaru. We're going to just get right into the video because this one is pretty long. We are coming to the end of AAPI Heritage Month and I haven't really made any content about that yet, mainly because of how stressed out I've been and other life things. As you can see, I am very stressed out right now, hence my need to use my AAC program right now. So, I wanted to take the time to talk about something that I have been wanting to talk about since I watched this show, and that is about the show Beef. Fair warning, I am not happy. I only watched 4 episodes and I am deeply disappointed in this show. The casting choices, the cast, and the direction in which they took this show in its entirety. I do not hold back, and there are some spoilers. You have been warned. Now, the thing that I want to talk about with Netflix's show Beef isn't the thing that everyone else has been talking about. So I will not be talking about that since it has been talked about all over the place. No, I need to talk about something else. Because I feel like this other thing has been completely overlooked. And that is about the actor Joseph Lee who plays the character of George in Beef. I want to start this part off with, I have nothing against Joseph Lee at all. Matter of fact, I think his artwork is quite nice and from what I hear, he's a very nice man and a really great human being in general. And all of those things are wonderful, so I do not hold anything against him personally, at all. However, the character of George is supposed to be Japanese, or rather, Japanese American. The script is written in such a way that they make a huge deal about his lineage and ancestry being Japanese several times, even to the point where they have a white character say something Japanese to Ali Wong's character Amy Lau at one point, and her character gets really weirded out and borderline disgusted and peeved about it because, guess what? She's not Japanese. Neither her character or Ali herself are Japanese. And for folks who aren't Asian American at all, I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. We really tend to not enjoy it when folks assume our Asianness like that. It's really annoying and it's super rude and it's just straight up racist. It's classified as a microaggression, but it's still a form of racism. It happens so frequently, it becomes exhausting for us to encounter on such a regular basis. Seriously, just ask us. And if you do ask us as if we are also human beings, please. A very simple, is it okay if I ask where your ancestry comes from, or I'm curious about your cultural background, would you be willing to talk about it? Personally, I'm totally cool with talking about that topic. Some folks aren't. It really just depends on the person. But there is no harm in asking so long as you ask us as if we are your equals and not a being that is below you. Anyway, I bring this up because Joseph Lee, he's not Japanese. He's Korean American. He has zero Japanese going on at all. And yes, I know, he's an actor. There's going to be all this discussion about how actors act and that's their job, etc., etc. But here's my grievance. In a show like this, in a time and age that we are currently living in, when we are literally begging for more accurate representation for minorities that hardly get proper representation, Japanese Americans hardly ever get proper representation in media. We hardly ever do. Have folks ever noticed that? Have you? Because I have. It's been my lived experience ever since I was a child. Unless it's a one-shot episode in a TV series, or if we are a comedy relief, it is very rare to get an actual Japanese American representation that is played by an actual Japanese American actor in any kind of lead role or semi-lead or returning side character. It hardly ever happens, honestly. The only one that really comes to mind is Sulu, George Takei, from Star Trek, and that's really sad. P.S. Anime doesn't count. I've had folks try to tell me that anime is plenty of representation for me, and I gotta say, that's not the same thing. So you can imagine my excitement when I realized that George was supposed to be Japanese American, only to have my expectations shattered to see that he's not played by a Japanese American actor. So even when we have a chance to have that representation, it's not given to us. I have no answers for why the people in charge of casting made this decision. All I know is that once again, people like me are lacking in representation, again. All that this has done is just back up my going on theory that I've had going for the last several years, since I was in college in the mid to late 2000s, that Japanese Americans may not get proper media representation for a long time, and we all know why. It doesn't take a genius to think too hard to figure out why. Even though Japanese Americans aren't at fault for what the Japanese did back then, somehow, we are still paying for what they did because racism. It's not enough that we lost huge amounts of our culture because of World War II. It's not bad enough that so many Japanese Americans lost their homes, lost their property, lost their heirlooms. It's not bad enough that those of us who are third and fourth generation and further out Japanese Americans tend to have lost our Japanese language too because of assimilation reasons, so we were never taught it and it was never even spoken in the home, for fear of our families being accused of being traitors, plus so much more cultural loss and disconnection that was out of our hands and that simply couldn't be held. Now, in the year 2023, we still can't get decent media representation now in modern times that's actually played by a Japanese American actor, even though there are plenty of Japanese American actors around today to choose from. I guess, for people like me, wanting to have a role model, someone to look up to who is actually of the culture that I come from and who may have had the same lived experiences as me, is just wanting too much, apparently. That's still too much for us to ask for.